which tools do you think that every e-com marketer should be using?
This is a big topic, and I don't really think there is a right or wrong answer because at the end of the day, the type of tools you would use as an e-com marketer really depends on the type of client you're dealing with, their industry, vertical, and a couple of other things. But having worked across a couple of high performing e-com accounts, there's certainly some common tools that I see are very useful for e-com marketers. The first one I would say would be any reliable market intelligence tools. One of the things that I will say is when you're trying to use these market intelligence tools, it's less about using these tools to give hard coded data to your client. So, for example, going to your client and saying, hey, X competitor of yours is spending X amount of dollars on X channel, and more about, hey, X competitor of yours is actually increasing their top of funnel advertising spend share by X% month over month. So these tools are meant to be used as directional guidance to help shape and craft your strategy. And then also any tools that encourage incrementality testing or conversion lift studies, I think are also super valuable for an e-com marketer. Gone are the days where you would just look at platform data, report on it, and then be happy. I think now, as businesses are becoming what I call more digitally savvy, the conversation has shifted to how incremental is a channel or tactic for my business. A lot of the businesses that I have worked in the past or I'm working with right now, they're more curious to understand the overall impact of a channel or tactic on their overall business revenue and their KPIs. Another tool that I would say is super important would be any creative analysis tools, especially if you're working with a brand that's very consumer facing, very trendy, very much present on social platforms. I think if you look back 5 to 10 years ago, when it comes to creative analysis, I used to spend like 2 hours or so, like pulling the data manually and then analyzing, reporting, all of that, probably even more than 2 hours. But now you do have tools. I think the most commonly used one is Motion that actually can spit out data in like 5 to 10 minutes in any angle you want to actually support your creative analysis reporting. And then I would also say that any tool that helps you with analytics, data tracking, reporting, they're also equally important. I don't think there is a single e-com business that's not leveraging GA4, for example, right now. You're able to get consumer user behavior data, traffic sources, conversion data, and like various different views and angles. Parallelly, reporting tools like Tableau, for example, they're meant to collate all channel data into one singular platform. So I think like if, for example, you're someone who's particularly looking at paid social, but then you have other channels in the mix, I think like reporting tools like that will really help you understand a more holistic picture of the business and help you adjust your strategy or your media mix. Another important conversation is around leveraging AI tools. Very transparently, I think businesses and us as an agency, we're trying to understand how best to incorporate AI into our day to day. But I work with a fair few AI tools. There's lots of AI tools that helps you to simulate data, also predict customer lifetime value if you're working with an e-com business. One more thing, and this is probably my favorite, I also think that the platforms that you use on a daily basis, they're also tools that you can leverage in some way. So think about Instagram and TikTok, for example. Lots of inspo there. Very transparently, I actually use Instagram and TikTok to actually get like creative inspo and strategy for a lot of my clients. I have a massive Instagram folder that has creative inspiration and also on TikTok. And I think because these platforms are heavily monetized by like businesses as well as creators, influencers, there's also like tools inbuilt into these platforms itself. So if you look at TikTok, for example, TikTok has the creator search insights tool, which will literally tell you which topics are trending right now, but for which there isn't a lot of content. So that allows like businesses, creators, influencers essentially to monetize and capitalize on those content gaps, we call it. I think they're kind of the tools that I feel are very important or useful for an e-com marketer in today's day and age.
Thank you for your time today. This was really helpful.